Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 8th of March. My name's Phillip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And Gary, we're almost a quarter of the way through the year, which
That
is
happened quickly,
kind of like, how did that happen? Where did it go? And before we know it, it'll be 2023.
I think you're kind of, you know what, you're like one of those little kids, like I'm almost 7, I'm almost 8, like we're almost a quarter, like we're only just in March, like we're not almost a quarter, we're just, we're just
Before
over 8.
Before you know it, March is done.
Yeah, well, anyway, look, we are moving through rapidly. This is a very
as
busy
we
time.
hurtle towards the long weekend.
Hurtle towards the long weekend.
Of which I don't mind saying I'm not doing any auctions and I need to have a break.
Of course, Phil, sadly, we mourn the loss of Shane Warne, who I must say I was at a poker game with not a month ago. And
Really?
Yeah, it was,
Sit on the same table as Warnie?
I was on the same table as him. I was watching. He was playing because I'd been knocked out by then. So I don't know if you'd say you're on the same table because I was just observing. He was on the final table. But I have to say that...
was this at the Dick Whittington Hotel?
No, it wasn't the Dick Whit. We went to the Dick Whit another time. I'm not sure if he was there that time, but there is a group of guys that play a tournament. And of course, I'm usually one of the first to go out, but I do enjoy being there. But he, the thing...
Does he light up a room?
Well, he's got a presence.
Yep.
Well, he had a presence. But you know what? The thing is that he sat there on the poker table, and of course, there's such a variety mix of people around him.
A mix of lifers.
That's it. And you know what? He couldn't care less. And I think that's one of the things that made people love him, is that everybody related to him in one way or another because he was flawed, but he was fun, he was light, he was a larrikin, he was successful, he flaunted his success, but he almost couldn't believe his success, in some ways.
Well, on the way here on the radio, I'm listening to, there is now a movement which is gathering credibility in the sources that you go to for this, but they're talking about knighting him. A knighthood for Shane Warne.
I don't know. I think would have laughed by himself. Yeah,
apparently it's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is not just a grassroots campaign. Apparently those that are involved in the knighting of people are talking about it because apparently the best Test cricketers in the history of the game have been knighted.
Yep.
So,
but I think he was...
how do you say it? Post.
Yeah. Not hummus.
Post-hummus.
Post-hummus, yeah.
Post-hummus. No doubt my father's watching and he will correct me.
Phil. It's
Posthumously. He will be made a knight, but there is no question that Warnie did bring if ever you could personify the Australian larrikin.
Exactly right. There's him, there's Paul Hogan, there's a few of them around. And you know what I love? That they didn't care about all of the political correctness. He was with Elizabeth Hurley. He's like, look, can you believe I'm with her? He was kind of laughing about it while I was with her at the same time. Which is a wonderful love story. But look, he was a good guy. I did meet him a few times, and he was very competitive at poker, by the way. He was a good player. He was competitive, but he didn't get to where he was without being competitive. But anyway, Phil, what can I say? We've got here to talk about real estate, and at the end of the day, the market is still good, still strong, still happening. 78% clearance on the weekend.
Against an industry average of 71%.
Yeah, I'm just going to take you up on that for a second, Phil, because because I'm seeing that there are naughty agents out there. We're not one of them that are purposely not reporting their results. So I think, we like to bring you the facts, and our stats are factual stats. But when we look at the results and we see agents, and there's some that are on the other side of North Road, Phillip, that like to beat their chests a little bit, thump their chest, I see and note that a lot of those agents aren't reporting properties that passed in at all. So that will skew the stats even further down, Phil. It's probably more like 65, I reckon, or 66 if there's others, not because of those agents.
Let's leave it at 71%, Gary, and let's just keep the good news flowing.
Yep. Okay, we'll do that.
We did have a huge volume of auctions viewers last weekend. We sold
8 out of 36,
8 out of 36, Gary. So that's a massive,
pretty close,
massive weekend for us. We do have a lot of 25 to 30 auctions, but 36 auctions was a massive weekend. And there were some really good standout results.
Well, let's talk about some of them. Let's talk about bowls. It is bowls and not bowls, isn't it?
It's definitely bowls, Gary. Bowles.
Yeah. So Bowls Avenue, Phillip, which was a midweek auction. And some people question the midweek auction. They say, is it really going to work, a midweek auction? Well, nothing could have been more evident than
we had 4 bidders there, Gary. 5 bidders. metres, I beg your pardon. We sold that for well in excess of the reserve price.
It's disclosed here, 2,177,500, Phillip, against a reserve price, which was within our range, which was kind of 182 or
that was
thereabouts.
A Thursday evening, Gary. We had three auctions. We had a 5 o'clock, a 6 o'clock and a 7 o'clock. And I can tell you now that the numbers of people across those times was all right up there.
Bamber Road hasn't sold yet. It's like probably will be sold by the time
this goes to where?
But what an extraordinary property on the park, and what a big crowd. I couldn't park anywhere near it.
Well, a fabulous home by Malin Constructions and architecture by Justin Architecture. So great combination there. And I think by the time this goes to air, it will be sold.
If not, ring us straight away.
Massive crowd there, Gary.
Yeah, big crowd.
That was 7 o'clock on a Thursday evening, around 100 people. We've put some footage up or some photographs up on that online as we speak.
Phil, 881 Glencoe Road has not been sold, but I think it should have been, and I think it will be. And if you haven't seen it and you're in this price range, 1.195 I think is the price, Phil. That's great value.
$1,195,000 sounds like good value.
List going around the grounds, Phil. We sold number 8B Alfred Street. Interesting to see kind of what's happened in the market, because we sold the identical next door for I think around 1.9 or just under. This one sold for $2,050,000, approximately a year and a half, maybe a year later. So, same product, Phil, pretty much. Extra 10%.
That's a classic real-time, like for like increase in the marketplace. And one could argue that the one that was sold previously was the marginally better one, only because it was on the west side, not the east side.
Well, what if you don't want to have to argue?
Well,
just don't have to argue.
No,
it's better not to argue.
Absolutely not.
Phil, the other property that also sold very well, congratulations to the vendors who are off to Queensland, Phil. They're on a plane off to the Sunshine State. And that, of course, is the property at number 29 Cedar Street in Caulfield South. So congratulations to the vendor there. A pumping auction.
What a great look. That is a classic auction moment, Gary, because we went inside. I think our quote range there was 1.3 to 1.4.
Yeah, and 1.4 was the reserve on the day.
But we went inside at 1,430,000 just to confirm our instructions, to which the vendor said absolutely. We'd love to get more. And we said to them very clearly, look, it might be over.
That's right.
But by going on the market, we'll absolutely test. So we put it on the market at $1,430,000, and I called it about three times. It was really over. And then another party came into the bidding, and the next, before you know it, we're at $1,530,000. So another $100,000 where it did seem like it was going to be sold.
What was the person who called out about the dog? Wasn't there someone walking through a crowd looking for a black dog?
There was a man who's a regular GPTV viewer who went through the middle of the auction, and as I'm calling bids, he just said, "Just a moment, Phillip. Has anybody seen Jack? No, Jack. Has anybody seen Jack the small dog?" Did kind of interrupt the flow of the auction, although obviously it didn't stop the incredible result we got. But never been asked a question at an auction, has anybody seen Jack the small dog?
But it happened there.
Thank you for that.
Well done to Jeremy Roses, who had a great result in auctioning 3 at 6. Nikki Jano was handling it, so all credit to her. But 3 at 6 Notting Street, Phillip, sold for $1,030,000. 3 strong bidders going for that one. And I had the pleasure of doing an auction, and if just viewers know what's kind of hot out there, like those semi-detached homes, Phillip. We had one in Trevascus Street, which was a combination of Maxine Pekarsky and Daniel Peer working on that property. Now that one, Phil, there was 4 bidders. We thought we might get in that low ones, around that 1.1 or thereabouts, sold for $1,310,000.
It's interesting, viewers. We are seeing there are a lot of these little semis, what we call these single-fronted houses, that were traditionally built in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and they have become very popular because they sit generally on somewhere around 300 square metres of land. They're either 2 or 3 bedrooms. They're easy to renovate. They're single-story. And the renovated versions can make all the way up to a couple of $1 million. So they are people's opportunity to get into the market owning a small parcel of land. And then there's 300 square metres is fast becoming a good parcel of land.
Phil. Then, of course, there's that one other extraordinary auction that had 2 emotionally charged had to have it buyers in Alma Road, 279 Alma Road. We won't go into the price, but that one just blew through the roof. So there's always often one of those.
About 4 bidders on that, Gary, but 2 parties did just compete very strongly for that. Interestingly, Gary, we should probably talk about what happens when a neighbour wants a property.
Yep.
Because in Alma Road, one of the bidders for that property was a neighbour, and sometimes that can really skew an auction result where it's worth more to a neighbour than it is to the general market. Now, obviously, in order for a neighbour to have to compete properly, there's got to be somebody else that wants it for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
But sometimes and often we see neighbours pay premiums for properties because they know how good the location is.
And understandably, if they love the location, if they want to expand their territory, they're never going to get another chance.
Correct.
But this was
nothing like buying the house next door, Gary.
This was an extraordinary result. So well done to the buyers, well done to the sellers, of course. 111 Glencoe Street, Phillip. Well, that was interesting. It was passed in, and then as soon as it was passed in, all of the action started happening.
Yep.
Bidders came out of the woodwork.
We refer to it as the auction after the auction.
It was the auction after the auction. Well done to the buyer there. Who actually only has to move across the road because they live in the street.
And an interesting thing about that, Gary, because often a bidder, for whatever reason, just cannot bring themselves to put up their hands, regardless of how long we drag it out. But you've got to love the auction process, because if it doesn't mean there's competition in the moment, what it does mean is it's brought the buyers to the address on a given time at a given day, ready to do business. Sometimes it gets a bit more complicated where we have to pass it in and have an auction after the auction.
Indeed. So for just over the range for $1,670,000, that price is disclosed. Now, the other property that may well be sold by the time this goes to air as well is that house in Glencoe Road, Phil, which is a ripper house. That's
gorgeous house.
339.
On the corner of Garrell Street, just over 500 square metres of land, a beautiful Art Deco house.
Been in the same hands for 58 years, Phil.
That is a very long time. And just a shout out to the vendors, please don't make a habit of owning your real estate for that long.
Don't stay in houses that long. It's bad for business, and it's very selfish, inconsiderate of us in the industry. Look, that's a big wrap of the sales. We have no auctions this weekend, but don't worry, because we have auctions tomorrow and Thursday to talk about, Phillip. We've got this block of apartments in Raleigh Street. You don't even need to look at the notes because you know that block of apartments well.
Gary. Raleigh Street in Paran or stroke Windsor is the most incredible address because it comes off Chapel Street and really is between Chapel Street and St Kilda Road. It is the most incredible location. 12 one-bedroom apartments, so you can buy this as an investment. You could perhaps separate them and sell them off individually. You could refurbish them, or it sits on approximately, I think, 900 odd square metres of land there, Gary. So that is an absolute buy of the moment.
That's on tomorrow, Phillip, at 2 p.m. Now, if you look up the definition of cool in the dictionary, Phillip, it will have a reference to 2 at 6A St Leonards Avenue in St Kilda, because this is such a cool place, Phil. This fantastic town residence, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2 parking space, just off Ackland Street in a great location. This is a beautiful residence, and it's going up for auction at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, Phillip. So you'll be doing that auction. I look forward to seeing you there.
Look forward to doing that.
We'll have some fun. So, Phil, yes, Thursday we're auctioning another property at Twilight. We love those Twilight auctions. This one's at 5:30 p.m. and it's in Scott Street, Phillip, a single-level home, and what a great-looking home it is. In a wonderful location. As I fumble through the brochure just to make sure I got the facts right, it is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and parking for 2, Phil. That is a beauty, and that's a wrap of our auctions this week. But we also have a property to review, 78 Allison Road, Elsternwick, Phil. This is a great buy, I reckon. It's a great street. I used to live in the street. I love it. And this is on a compact parcel of land, but a fantastic home. Some images of that on your screen right now. It's just a little bit of a preview of a property of the week. Something
and
wonderful.
Allison Road, Elsternwick is one of Elsternwick's greatest address. Definitely top 10, definitely. Question is it top 5 with Harleston Park, Glen Huntly Road, the shopping centre, the tram, everything on your doorstep. You can't get better address than that.
We don't spend a lot of time, Phil, in these GPTV episodes talking about things that are selling off the plan, but we are busy selling off the plan. And that project in Paran, we've got a project in Lake Street, Carnegie. I think there's only one left. And
well, the project marketing division, Gary, is very busy. We've got apartments, we've got townhouses, we've got luxury apartments, we've got investment apartments. We've got them from Paran to Caulfield South to Carnegie to Murrumbina.
And down the peninsula and Cheltenham and that way, Phil.
Absolutely.
We've got happening everywhere. And they start from little 1-bedroom apartments, Phillip, compact, lovely 1-bedroom apartments, kind of a 300 to 400, right through to the very, very top homes in the 2, $3 million range. So if you're looking to buy off the plan, speak to Julian Millman and Jacob Kingston, because they are...
Lisa Alberts and Rafi Joffe.
Yes,
it is a team that is doing great things in the project marketing space.
So that's a big wrap on GPT for this March episode. Market feeling good to you?
Yep, Gary, I think that we've got more stock in the market now. The market has kind of levelled out, there's no question. Properties are still selling really well, but ultimately I think the market's found its new level and there is great momentum out there.
We're looking forward to bringing you all the real estate news. Have a wonderful long weekend. While there's no auctions, plenty of open for inspections to get to if you've got a real estate appetite. But we will bring you all the news next week, next Tuesday on GPTV. I'm Gary Pearce.
I'm Phillip Kingston. Have a great week.